In this video, I'll provide an overview of how to complete the DiSC personal profile. So to start with, open your booklets to page 2 and 3, and on those pages you'll find 28 groups of words. You want to pick the word in each group that most describes you and least describes you, and as you can see in the video here, you'll scratch off with a coin to reveal a shape. You'll do this for each of the 28 groups, again one most and one least word that describes you. All these, we'll go to the bottom of page 3 and tear off the perforated section to reveal the tally box that shows for each of the shapes what's the corresponding letter in the DiSC profile. So you'll go through and count the most of each shape and record that in the corresponding box. So you have your total number for most for the Z's. We'll do the same for the next letter in the mosts and record that for the squares. You've also provided with a tally sheet that you can use to make tick marks as you record the numbers. As you go through, you should have a total of 28 tick marks for each the most and least. And that's a good quality check to make sure you haven't over or under selected boxes. You'll then to the next section in the tally box so we can calculate the difference between your most and least selections for each of those shapes or corresponding DiSC letters. So it's simply the most minus the least. And it is possible here to have negative numbers. As you'll see in this example, 3 minus 12 is negative 9. So you'll continue to fill in all of those difference boxes for each shape or corresponding letter. And just as we did before, we'll do a quality check, make sure those numbers add up to 28 in your most and least column. You may also have some n values, which don't go into your total calculation, but again, they're part of the 28 total. You'll then transfer those numbers to the bottom of page 5 for the tally box in your DiSC profile, so you have these numbers for later. Next, we'll plot your values for each of the most, which goes into graph 1. So you'll see here I'm putting a dot on my graph for each of the numbers that I calculated for the most column. And then you'll draw lines to connect the dots so you can see the pattern of your profile. So this is the completed pattern for my graph 1 most. I'll repeat this for graph 2, which is the least. So again, I'll just put a dot for each of the values. And notice that if the range doesn't have your number, just pick between the values where your number would fall. And once I have that done, again, I'll connect the dots. And I have my profile shape. And you continue by graphing the difference values on graph 3. As you do this, you want to make note of the point that's the highest on your graph. And then, like before, you'll connect the dots to reveal your pattern. Whichever was your highest point, you'll mark on page 7. And then take a look at the notes here and give you some insights into your behavioral style. We'll next go ahead and calculate the classical pattern. And you'll notice on graph 3, for each dot, if I go to the right, there's a corresponding number on the edge of the graph. So I'll get those numbers, and in my case, it's 7117. And once you have that number, we'll take a look at pages 10 through 13 to find the numbers that match. So I'll go through and I'll find 7117, and you'll notice that it's the creative pattern, and I'll go ahead and just mark that in my book. So you want to make note on the bottom of your graph 3 what your pattern is. So I'll just write the word creative here. And then we'll take a look at pages 14 through 19 to find the creative pattern, and then also read the notes here. Congratulations, you've completed the DiSC personal profile.